Exhaustion can feel like failure. You've left behind the familiar, and what's ahead feels heavy, feels unfamiliar, and maybe lonely. You wonder if you made a mistake. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something meaningful. This past video I shared, When Healing Feels Heavy, has been the most connected, most seen offering on this channel since I began just over a year ago. For nearly a year, I sat with 4 subscribers here on YouTube. Two of them were were me. And now, within the last few months of showing up more consistently with deeper clarity, 15 new people have joined because of the last video. And this channel is small, very small, yes, but it's alive, it's steady, and most importantly, it's real to me anyway. And some of you messaged me directly, some of you even followed me on Instagram, and some of you had shared some kind words or just simply listened with presence. I even got some dislikes, all of our form of engagement, and I welcome that too. Because this is life, this is connection. And like I've shared in other videos, I am not here to be palatable, I am here to be present. Your responses, seen or unseen, matter, and whether you comment or remain in the quiet and just witness, and whether you have been here for months or you are new to this space, I feel you and I am so grateful. So I'll keep showing up, not because it's easy, far from it, but because it's aligned. So thank you for being here, for receiving, for walking this with me in whatever way you do. And now I invite you to come home to yourself. I would like to make this a ritual for my channel. So wherever you are, seated, walking, lying down, just let yourself arrive. Let your body feel this moment as it is, and let your breath return to you. Take an inhale in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And again, inhale, exhale. Let that be your reminder that you are here, not somewhere in the past, not rushing ahead into the next thing, but right here. Let your attention drop from your mind into your body, into your seat, your feet, your skin. This body that carries you, this breath that lives you. And now silently ask, who is the one listening? Who is the one receiving this very moment? Because that matters. It matters who is listening. Are you here as the one who is ready and steady, or as the one who is guarding? Are you here to remember or to stay hidden? This isn't about being perfect. This is about being present. The ego is never far. It sits in the same room as you. But so does your spirit, and you get to choose who is listening. We have all been wounded. We've all been split. And yet, here we are, remembering, reconnecting breath by breath. So I offer this as a threshold, a moment to be with yourself before we begin. Take one more breath and place a hand on your heart and belly if that feels right for you. And when you are ready, we will begin. Let's begin. Exhaustion can feel like failure. You've left behind the familiar, and what's ahead feels heavy, feels unfamiliar, and maybe lonely. You wonder if you made a mistake. I've been there. I know what it's like to fall back into old patterns, to confuse anxiety for excitement, to doubt the path. But exhaustion isn't failure, it's a threshold. Hey, it's Veronica. I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning of this episode. Today, I want to share how to recognize exhaustion, how to meet it, and how to stay with yourself when you want to give up. Agreement does not prove truth, and disagreement does not erase it. What I share is a truth I have lived, witnessed, and have come to understand through my own journey. You are always free to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And when I speak about exhaustion and the urge to give up, I do not speak from theory. I know this cycle very well. I have fallen back into patterns I wanted to release. I have felt the weight of a clean slate that looked like freedom, but carried the heaviness of the unfamiliar. The silence of a clean slate that felt heavier than the past I left behind. I came to see this truth. The weight of the new does not signal failure. It signals that you are standing where you have never stood before. The ache of remembering. For a long time, I thought that heaviness was fear of the unknown. I judged myself for doubting, for sabotaging, for not being able to move forward. But what I've come to see is that it isn't fear at all. It's disorientation. The body reads the unfamiliar as an imbalance. Just like in yoga, when you're on your mat, when you move from mountain pose into tree pose, you wobble. That wobble doesn't mean you have failed. It means your body is learning to orient in a new way. And life works like that too. When you stand on the edge of something unfamiliar, your nervous system flags it as danger. Not because it is dangerous, but because you haven't found your footing yet. That moment of wobble is what we mistake for fear. Ego grabs hold, names it fear of the unknown, and convinces you to turn back. This shift in perspective changes everything. For me, it has. Exhaustion isn't failure. Heaviness is not fear. They are thresholds. They are doorways. The raw space where you are learning how to stand in yourself in a new way. So reflect on this. When life places a clean slate in your hands, how do you meet it? With fear or curiosity? And what if that disorientation you're feeling before you step into the threshold wasn't fear, but an invitation to find yourself and your footing, to discover yourself in the experience? A clean slate feels heavy because it is unfamiliar. The weight signals possibility, not collapse. For most of my life, I mistook anxiety for excitement. The rush in my body, the flutter in my heart, the racing thoughts, the urgency to act, I called it excitement. Anxiety was what fueled me, what moved me forward, but it didn't move me in the direction my soul wanted. It moved me into reaction, into chasing, into choices that didn't serve me. And this is avidya, misperception. It's when we confuse contraction for openness and mistake what is fleeting for what is true. The body is always speaking. Excitement and anxiety live close together in your body. Both can quicken the pulse. Both can create a buzzing in your nerves. And both can make you restless to act. Excitement carries openness. Anxiety carries contraction. One expands and wonder constricts. This is why presence matters. Without it, we confuse one for the other. Discernment comes through the pause, through feeling before naming, through listening deeper than the lower mind's quick label. Pause and ground. Stop for a moment. Feel your body's weight supported. And then orient in space. Slowly scan your room with your eyes. Notice where you are, what surrounds you, and that you belong here. Let your body register. There is nothing to fear. And then drop into your body. Place your hands on your chest, on your belly, on your thighs, and then sense the anchor of your own presence. Let the feeling be felt. Allow sensations to move through you before the mind defines them. Ask from the higher mind, from this grounded place, does the sensation open me or does it close me? Witness without clinging. Stay with what arises. Discernment comes from witnessing, not from controlling. When you approach discernment this way, the question doesn't come from the mind that wants to manage or explain. It comes from a deeper place, the witness, the higher mind, the part of you that can see clearly without attaching. And when you're clear, you don't have to name it. You simply are. You begin to understand. So, how do you usually respond when a clean slate arrives in your life? With excitement or fear? Can you sense when your excitement is actually anxiety in disguise? And what helps you clear enough space in yourself to tell the difference? Slowing down was one of the hardest practices for me. My perfectionism thrived on urgency. If I wasn't moving, producing, proving, I felt unseen. But the truth is, it wasn't fear of being unseen. It was disorientation. Who was I without producing, without proving, without my perfectionism? The ego called that wobble danger. It whispered, "You're invisible. You'll disappear." But really, it was a loss of orientation. I didn't yet know myself without urgency to define me. In my body, slowing down felt unbearable. I always heard the program running. You should be doing something better with your time. Be productive. Even waiting for my coffee to brew, I filled the gap with washing dishes, unloading the dishwasher, or avoiding stillness, multitasking. This wasn't efficiency or productivity or being useful with my time. This was programming. This was avoiding. Ego disguised as protection. My body mirrored what my mind and energy fed it. The nervous system adapted to fear and urgency until they felt familiar. And this is the deeper truth. You don't fear being unseen by others. You feel disoriented because you cannot yet see yourself. And seeing yourself isn't about the physical eye. It is a deeper sight, an understanding. When you begin to understand yourself, you stop needing permission from others to simply be. This is what it means to live untethered, not unaffected by life, but anchored in who you are, even when the ground shifts. Because once you know where you find yourself, you can always return. Even if life knocks you off your feet, you know the path back to center. Presence is orientation. Every time you run from this, you run from yourself. Disconnection deepens disorientation. Ego calls this discomfort fear. The higher mind knows it is the invitation to remember your place. Presence anchors you there, not as something to hold tightly, but as something to return to again and again and again. The sutras describe this steady return as abhyasa, the practice, and the loosening of urgency as vairagya, the release. Together, they are medicine for the restless mind and body, discipline balanced with surrender. And from here, a deeper truth emerged. What moves me now is not urgency, it is trust. Not the trust of attaching to outcomes, but the trust of surrendering into this thing we call the unknown. So, what energy usually moves you? Is it fear, urgency, trust, or presence? And how do you know? Where in your life do you mistake heaviness for failure when it may be a doorway into growth? Growth moves in layers, each one asking for something deeper. Growth asks you to step into the discomfort. It does not always feel like progress in the way the ego sees progress. Sometimes it feels like shedding skin, standing exposed, holding steady when the familiar calls you back. The familiar path will always call to you. The old ways whisper comfort. They remind you of who you once were. Old habits feel safe, even when you know they no longer fit. Choosing integrity means staying loyal to your evolution, especially in the moments when it feels lonely. This is the essence of what Patanjali calls Kriya Yoga, tapas, the fire of discipline, svadhyaya, self-study, and isvara pranidhana, surrender to the divine. Growth is tapas, the heat of becoming. Self-study keeps you awake to old patterns, and surrender steadies you when loneliness tempts you back to the familiar. In the past, judgment and criticism lit my fire. I defended myself, poured my energy into battles that had no real meaning. Each reaction left me drained. Each defense pulled me further from my center. Now I treat energy as sacred currency. I spend it where it nourishes me. I refuse to invest where it depletes me. Growth does not erase stumbling. Growth teaches you how to rise, choose again, and redirect your energy toward what strengthens your wholeness. The fire of tapas is not punishment, it is purification. Exhaustion at the edge of the known is not failure, it is the threshold where transformation begins. So when the fire rises, how do you know whether it's the ego's fire of reaction or the purifying fire of tapas? And what practices help you stay in the heat that transforms without being pulled back into battles that drain your spirit? In exhaustion, it comes in layers too. It can feel like carrying too much. It can feel like isolation, like no one understands why you can't just get back with the program. It can tempt you to give up and return to what you've outgrown because that feels safer than stepping into the unknown. Giving up really looks like stopping. It looks like sliding back into habits you've worked to release. It looks like chasing after what your soul already told you was not for you. This is when discouragement silences the heart and ego takes the driver's seat. And the sutras call this asmita, the ego confusing the body mind with the self. In exhaustion, it convinces you that the weight you carry is who you are, but you are not your heaviness. You are the awareness that sees it. The antidote is steady practice and gentle release. Practice choosing again and again to return to presence, to one breath, to the slower step. Release, loosening your grip on urgency, on outcomes, and on the need to control. Together, they keep you moving forward without collapsing back into what you've already outgrown. And when your heart softens, trust returns, not the trust of knowing how it will all unfold, but the trust of laying down the ego struggle and letting something greater carry you. Exhaustion doesn't mean you have failed. It means you have reached the edge of what you've known. And edges are where remembering begins. Slow down. Breathe. Ask who's in the driver's seat. Anchor back into connection. And remember, presence, even in the smallest way, is always the doorway back to your wholeness. Presence doesn't ask for perfection. It asks you to return again and again. And when healing feels heavy, stay with yourself. Exhaustion is not the end of the path. It is the doorway to self-realization. Don't give up on yourself, because this is where you meet who you truly are. Thank you for being here with me today, and I will see you on the next one.